sections down the front or something, shouldn't we? What do you think? Serve tea, you know, things like that would be more civilized. I don't know what this desk is for. Probably get rid of that. Anyway, perhaps we might break it up with an axe later on and, you know, build a bonfire, warm us all up. Right, I'm at TechCrunch, that's right. Let me see, what am I doing? Peggy.
Yes.
Now, you're EVP of Biz Dev at Microsoft.
Right.
What I think is interesting, I'm rearranging the furniture so I don't turn my back on you guys. So you're okay. What I think is interesting, Microsoft has been known for many years, obviously, as this big, huge company. We're all familiar with its history. But what's interesting is, certainly under the new CEO, is it's sort of going back to its roots, isn't it? It's sort of trying to kind of get back to the mojo that Bill sort of tapped into in the early days. First of all, why is it doing that? And second of all, how are you going to do that? So, I mean, first of all, what's the strategy?
Well, first of all, we have a new CEO in Satya Nadella, and he has an amazing vision, and he's a real change agent for the company. And we have three strong ambitions. We want to reinvent productivity. We basically want to give time back in people's day. We want to build the intelligent cloud, and we want to create more personal computing. And those are the three areas that he's chosen to focus on. He's a huge fan of partnerships, and it's really not about just partnering, but true partnerships, having a relationship behind it. And he's a listener, he's a learner, and I am there because of him. I just started at the company a year ago, and his vision is what attracted me to the new Microsoft.
I mean, how did you go about formulating your new engagement strategy? Did you sort of lock yourselves in a room for a few weeks, or what happened?
Well, again, I think, Satya was sort of the beacon for us, and he began early in his tenure as CEO to kind of re-engage with the Valley initially, and then now with other areas of innovation around the world. And so I'm down in the Valley all the time. We have a team on the ground in the Valley. And so it's about sort of evangelizing again to that community and letting them know that we're here to help them. We've got products and tools and services and support, and we want to hear what they're working and building on, and hopefully partner and sometimes acquire.
Did you think that Microsoft has lost touch with what was going on in Silicon Valley and San Francisco?
I don't know if it's lost touch, but for sure you can't build everything from one campus. You really have to have eyes and ears. And it's not just about the Valley. As I said, it's about India, it's about China, it's about Israel. So we have to make sure that we're listening and learning beyond our campus. And so I would say Satya's, under his leadership, we're pushing more in that direction.
Because a lot of people, especially at the startup level, would be more aware of Microsoft, whether it's BizSpark programs and its accelerators. They're still part of the piece, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have 7 accelerators all around the world, and here in Europe we've got them in London, in Paris, and Berlin. And our accelerators are an important funnel for us because we'll go in and we engage the startup community. We share with them tools, services, but probably most importantly, support. So we have technical support. But then building on that, we've been in the business for 40 years. So we have a pretty vast partner network around the world. We have a huge ecosystem that they can also tap into. But then maybe something a little less known is we have something on our campus called Microsoft Research, which is a portion of our pretty immense R&D budget. In fiscal 15, I think we spent about $12 billion on R&D.
12 billion?
12 billion, yeah. There's few companies in that category.
Yeah.
And most of that goes to our product groups, but some of that goes to Microsoft Research. So it's basic applied research that new startups can learn about, and sometimes putting that research together with a startup, we can create something really magical.
I know Microsoft obviously is typically known for dealing with very large companies at scale. so big enterprise companies.
Right.
But you've also now doing a lot of partnerships. I noticed that you do now a partnership with Salesforce.
Yes.
Which is kind of a bit weird, and a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think you
Wouldn't
guys would partner with
necessarily
Salesforce
think,
particularly, especially after
Yeah.
the kinds of thing Mark Benioff says.
Yet this year, Satya Nadella was front and center keynote at Dreamforce, at Mark Benioff's Dreamforce. And so we've come a long way in that partnership. You know, there are areas
So less of a Mexican standoff now.
maybe
less
so.
guns pointed to the head.
Yeah, less guns pointed. And we're looking for areas of collaboration. But, you know, we do compete with CRM. We have CRM online. Mark obviously has a great CRM product, but there's actually probably more areas of collaboration that we've found. And it's those areas that we're concentrating on because we have customers of both products. So if we can take both of our products and integrate them together and make a better experience for our customer, we're going to do that so that we can increase the TAM for both of us and provide a better experience for our joint customers.
Is that motivated because Salesforce has, you know, plenty of customers and Microsoft wants to become part of that ecosystem, or because Microsoft wants to make its own products better?
To tell you the truth, it was really more about the customers. Customers said, wow, if only your products worked well with Salesforce products. And so we said, why shouldn't they? Let's just bring those things together. We did the same thing with Dropbox. We have a competitive product there.
Yeah, you've got a partnership with Dropbox as well.
Exactly.
Even though you've got OneDrive.
Correct. So we are able to find these areas of collaboration, and that's really what the leadership of Satya is bringing. We're looking for the areas of collaboration.
You're going to buy Dropbox?
No comment?
Come on, give us a hint.
No. I will not speculate on anything
friends
on this
here.
stage.
Stop tweeting,
Just
everybody.
With this small group of people.
So are you going to buy Dropbox?
I won't say anything about acquisitions, true or false.
Right then. Turning to acquisitions, Microsoft has become more acquisitive over the last few years. You bought a company, didn't you?
We bought several companies.
You bought several companies.
I would say over the last few years, we've bought a series of smaller companies. And over the last 6 months or so, or I guess it was about over the last year, we bought Acompli, which is a great iOS and Android Outlook app. Wunderlist, a great list-taking app. I use it all the time.
Wunderlist out of Berlin.
All the time. It's a wonderful, And also Sunrise, which is a calendaring app. And all three of those we are integrating into Office 365. So
I'm
just
a big
bringing
fan
it
of
better.
Sunrise, actually.
Sunrise is great, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you use it?
I use all three of them.
Yeah. Oh.
And the thing is that if you can, all of them tend to give you just a little more time back in your day. You know, you can utilize all three of those and find that you have more time, and then that.
And this feeds back
kind of
into your productivity.
Exactly. But they all of them integrated very quickly. We've hit the ground running with all of them and turning the products back out the door very quickly.
Microsoft has become more acquisitive. So when you acquire a company, what happens? Do you snap them into some program and, you know, start giving them the Microsoft way? Do they have to learn a company song?
Secret handshake.
Secret handshake. I knew you had one of those. Roll up the trouser leg. What do you do? Do they kind of get integrated somehow, or are you kind of let them kind of keep their kind of mojo?
It's really more the latter, and because I would give you an example of Acompli. I don't know if any of you know the CEO, Javier Soltero. It's a fabulous guy, and he had created this fantastic app and a fantastic group of people around him, and we said we want more of that inside. So when we acquired Acompli and brought Javier in, we largely left him.
Did they get to keep their offices?
We've integrated everything, but
right.
Hopefully it wasn't, they got a bit of an upgrade there. But what we did is we said, we want this culture to expand that you have here. It's a very innovative, very creative culture. And now Javier is head of all of Outlook, not just the portion he brought in. And it's had a great transformative effect.
So the startup guy is now head of Outlook as a product.
Exactly.
Is it something that you've wanted to basically bring in more DNA, startup
Correct.
DNA?
Right.
I mean, why not just try and innovate internally rather than acquire? Why are you doing it that way?
Well,
or are you doing both?
We're doing both, but sometimes you just have to recognize that someone on the outside has done it faster, and if you need it, then you have to figure out a way to partner or acquire and somehow come together, because you actually can't build or buy everything that you need or want. You have to have a mix of partnerships, of acquisitions, sometimes just a commercial agreement, but it's all about building an ecosystem that will be transformative, and it's hard to do that from one single campus. So we're really moving beyond the edges there.
So you're engaging more with startups. I mean, one of the things that startups obviously often need is like cloud hosting. We all know that Amazon S3 is used a lot by startups. But you obviously have your own Azure program as well.
We do.
I mean, how are you using Azure as a way to engage with startups?
So through a number of areas, we have channels where we can bring Azure consumption to new startups. And so we work with Y Combinator, a lot of our first-party accelerators.
You work with YC?
Yeah, we do work with Y Combinator, and as new startups come in, we give them a big chunk of Azure. We give them many of our services, the tech support. So we're welcoming them in and helping them along, and then on the other end, introducing them to that vast ecosystem and our partner network. So it's sort of a funnel. We want to meet them early on, introduce them to our products, and then hopefully engage them into our partner and ecosystem.
Well, I noticed you did a partnership with Uber, so that you're in an app like a company, I think, and it'll fill in your destination automatically.
Yeah.
That's a really cool implementation. Was that something that Uber suggested to you, or something that you guys took to Uber?
It was really a joint discussion.
Yeah.
It all starts with a partnership and a relationship, really. And one of my teammates had a good relationship with their head of biz dev, and
Right.
It just started with conversation, and it turned into where we ended up building together with Uber an add-on into Outlook that, since Outlook has your calendar and it knows where you need to go, it'll give you a notification that says, time to go right now. It's already checked how long the Uber is going to take to get there. It knows where you're trying to go. All you have to do is press a button and your Uber is called. And it's sort of that, when you can put two groups of data together and come up with a more valuable solution for the consumer, that's what we want to do more of.
One of the at your stated aims you want to reinvent yourselves in reinventing production, productivity, personal computing, and the cloud. Certainly on the personal computing side, I mean, we're all sort of carrying around these super clever devices now and things like that. I mean, 5 years away, 5 years hence, we're all walking around. Are we going to be using a Microsoft personal devices much more? I mean, obviously you famously bought Nokia. I mean, how's Microsoft projecting forward to the personal computing revolution in the next few years?
When we say more personal computing, that's one of our
tracking devices, you name it.
I had my band on this weekend. I ran the New York City Marathon. I had my Microsoft band on. Yeah.
What was your time?
4:30.
Incredible.
But when we talk about more personal computing, it's it's not about any single device. It's about the person is the hub. So you're going to have many devices.
We're trying to make computing more human-centric.
Exactly. And so when your contacts, your messaging, your email, those things should follow you throughout your day, wherever you are, whether you're in front of a small screen or a big screen or a wearable or your handset. So what we're trying to do is think of the person as the hub and create a better mobility experience for the person utilizing the devices that are in your environment. Do you
feel vindicated now that Apple has produced a more Surface-like iPad?
That's always good to see. I think the category creation in our 2-in-1 product, the Surface, was something that we'd been thinking about for a while. So it was great to see that. It's always good for competition to see that.
Yeah.
But on the topic of category creation, you're going to see more of that from us going forward. We have also HoloLens, which is our great,
which is amazing.
Yeah, augmented reality device.
You're pretty bullish about VR?
Yeah, well, VR and AR, but I think AR is something that we're focused on right now.
Yeah.
And
the HoloLens is much more AR.
Yeah, we've got some of them in the Microsoft stores around the world. So if you have a chance, you can go take a look at them. But we have a developer community that we're starting around HoloLens. I think there's going to be some great enterprise applications that can be utilized. You put the glasses on, you can look at aircraft engines and figure out what, what to unscrew and what not to unscrew.
How much do you yourself personally interface with the section of Microsoft that acquires companies? Do you sort of have a monthly catch-up or a weekly catch-up?
Much more. It's a weekly. It's a very rapid pace. Yeah. Again, because we've really stepped up our engagement, so we don't want to miss anything. And so we have a small investment council where we look at these, and on a weekly basis, we're making decisions. Is this right? Is it not? Should it be put on a watch list? And so we're constantly evaluating, and we get together very often.
In the last couple of minutes, what's your view of the European tech scene, and what are the kinds of ways you'd like to engage with the community here in Europe?
Well, we have our 3 accelerators here, and those have done very well, and we've been excited about the output from those. We have some great support, and so I would say for any startups who are interested, come visit, and we'd love to help them out. But I think more importantly, if you are a European accelerator, think about the global opportunity and sort of the global partners we can introduce you to. We'd be more than happy to do that.
This is the internationalization piece that you're pushing at the moment.
It really is. It's one of our differentiators, and it's, again, one of the things that sets us apart from perhaps others that, you may choose to engage with.
So, there's a lot of startups here. What's the best way for them to... you're doing this reach out to startups and trying to get them engaged with Microsoft, and it's basically you're kind of coming back to the table and saying, we're back, we're here, let's talk turkey. What's the best way that they can engage with Microsoft now?
I would say come to our accelerators, visit our websites. We have our Microsoft booth here on the show floor.
You've got a big booth here?
Yeah. Come visit, drop your card off, and we'll have a team reach out and engage.
Well, Peggy, it's really lovely to talk to you. Hope you have a great time. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks very much.
That's it. You want to go this way? Thank you.
We have a few minutes for Q&A, Peggy, if you'd like to answer some questions. Mike, would you like to do a bit of Q&A?
Sure.
Come on back up. Welcome Peggy back to the stage. Thank you.
Who's running the Q&A, me or you? Okay, come on then. Questions, everybody?
Any questions?
Who's got questions for Microsoft?
This is a funny thing.
We can throw a box to you, a microphone. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know there was a Q&A.
Can you hear? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Ailish O'Hora from the Irish Independent. I'd just like to ask you, Peggy, we've seen a lot of traffic through the Web Summit today, as we have seen in other similar kind of arenas. Very few women, particularly in top roles. Obviously, the current company is excluded from that. What is the problem? It's not just here in Ireland, it's everywhere.
What's the problem? I don't know if you all heard the question about so few women. I think part of it is, this is a tech community. I'm an electrical engineer. But when I went through school, it was only about 15% women. And still today, it's about 15% women. We really just have to increase the number of women coming out of the tech school. Here's one right here. Glad to have you. It's a great career. It's been wonderful for me. I speak often on the issue of STEM and getting more women into STEM. We need engineers desperately, and women are underserved in that community. And so I would just encourage each of you, if you have a young girl in your life, to suggest a career in STEM. It can be very, very rewarding, and we desperately need it.
I think it's interesting, isn't it, how the education systems have kind of not served women in STEM subjects so well. Any other questions? Let's make this the final one. If anyone has a question. Any last ones?
Time for one more question.
Time for one over here.
Thanks so much. I was wondering if you could double click on the reasons or the common characteristics of the companies that you invested, such as Sunrise. What were you looking in the team of folks that you were investing in? Have you had any existing relationship with them before, and things of that nature, just to get a sense of your thinking process when you're going into investments?
Yeah, so how we solved all of those that I spoke about, Sunrise, Acompli, and Wunderlist, is they were solving a problem. And it was a problem we needed solved. And so it just made for a very good strategic partnership that eventually turned into an acquisition. But I would say to startups, from a Microsoft perspective, if you can help us solve a problem, if you can help us meet one of our 3 ambitions, we'd love to talk. Absolutely.
It's all about solving problems, right?
Solving
Okay.
problems.
How about a big round of applause for Peggy and Mike? Thank you so much.